Welcome to our video. If climate change is an emergency, why aren't the rich changing their lifestyles? Today, we'll dive into the stark contrast between the urgent need for climate action and the lifestyles of the wealthy. With their disproportionate carbon footprints, private jets, and luxury consumption, we'll explore how the affluent often evade meaningful change. We'll also discuss the practices of greenwashing, reliance on carbon offsets, and their resistance to policy reforms. Join us as we unravel the complex interplay of global inequality, economic incentives, and accountability in the context of the climate crisis that affects us all. 1. Disproportionate carbon footprints. When you think about carbon footprints, it's easy to imagine that everyone shares an equal part in the problem. However, this is far from the truth. According to Oxfam, the world's wealthiest 1% are responsible for more than double the carbon emissions of the poorest 50% combined. This staggering statistic highlights the massive imbalance in contributions to climate change. The affluent often indulge in luxury habits like frequent private jet use and maintaining oversized mansions, which greatly amplify their environmental impact. It's like a drop in the ocean compared to a tidal wave. The difference is vast and undeniable. 2. Private jet usage. Private jets have become a symbol of wealth and status, but they come with a hefty environmental price tag. These luxury aircraft produce vastly more CO2 per passenger than commercial flights. For instance, in 2019, a single private jet emitted as much carbon in an hour as the average person does in a year. Imagine taking a year's worth of daily commutes and condensing it into a mere 60 minutes. This kind of luxury is not just extravagant, it's environmentally reckless. Yet, for many of the wealthy, the convenience and prestige seem to outweigh the ecological costs. 3. Superyachts and luxury consumption. Superyachts are the epitome of opulence, but their contribution to emissions is anything but glamorous. Owning and operating these floating palaces can result in the emission of thousands of tons of CO2 annually. It's like having a small factory running non-stop. The demand for resource-intensive luxury goods doesn't stop there. It extends to high-end fashion, exotic foods, and lavish events, all of which exacerbate environmental harm. While these luxuries offer pleasure to a few, they take a toll on the planet that everyone shares. 4. Greenwashing practices. Greenwashing is a term that has become increasingly familiar, and for good reason. Many wealthy individuals and corporations engage in this practice, publicly promoting sustainability while maintaining environmentally harmful practices behind the scenes. It's akin to wearing a mask. What you see on the surface is not always what lies beneath. While they may support tree planting initiatives or invest in renewable energy, these efforts often serve as a smokescreen to distract from their substantial carbon emissions. The truth is, these actions rarely address the root of the problem. 5. Carbon offsets as a loophole. Carbon offsets are often touted as a solution to high emissions, but they are far from a perfect fix. Wealthy individuals frequently rely on these offsets to justify their carbon-heavy lifestyles. Critics argue that this doesn't actually reduce emissions, it merely shifts the responsibility elsewhere. It's like paying someone to clean up your mess without changing the behavior that caused it. As long as the status quo remains unchanged, the underlying issue of excessive emissions persists. 6. Resistance to policy change. When it comes to policy change, the rich have a significant influence. They possess the resources to lobby against initiatives like higher taxes on luxury emissions or stricter environmental regulations, which could directly impact their lifestyles. Imagine having the power to change the rules of the game in your favor. That's the advantage the affluent hold. This resistance not only stalls meaningful progress but also perpetuates a system where wealth can shield one from accountability. 7. Global inequality in climate impact. The effects of climate change are not felt equally around the globe. Climate emergencies disproportionately affect poorer regions, yet the wealthy, who contribute the most to emissions, are often insulated from the consequences due to their resources and access to technology. It's as if they live in a protective bubble, untouched by the storms that rage outside. This disparity highlights the moral obligation of the affluent to lead by example and make meaningful lifestyle changes. 8. Sustainability for image. Some billionaires have made headlines with their investments in renewable energy and sustainability initiatives. However, these actions are often seen as symbolic or insufficient relative to their overall carbon impact. It's like planting a tree while cutting down a forest. While these efforts may improve public image, they rarely result in substantial reductions in emissions. The gap between intention and impact remains wide and problematic. 9. Economic system benefits. The wealthy often benefit from an economic system that prioritizes growth over sustainability. Changing their lifestyles could challenge the very systems that uphold their wealth. It's like asking a fish to swim against the current. The path is difficult and fraught with obstacles. As long as economic incentives favor consumption and expansion, the motivation for the affluent to change remains limited. 10. Lack of accountability. Accountability is a crucial component in addressing climate change, yet there is little societal or governmental accountability for the emissions of the rich. In contrast, average citizens face broader calls to reduce their carbon footprints through everyday actions. It's a double standard that leaves the most significant contributors to climate change unchecked. Without accountability, meaningful progress remains elusive.